I grew up with My Little Pony, specifically this generation. I don't keep up with like the terminology of what is what. This this was my childhood. I watched this show so much as a kid. I loved it so much. I still love it. I thought I would, jump on the little bandwagon that's been going around where we redesign the Equestria girls. Um, but yeah, one thing that I never really liked though was just kind of the way they looked. The something about the base models for these characters was very odd to me, and I was always so confused as to why they were in high school because it was my understanding as my 7-year-old self back in the day that the ponies were adults because they owned shops and lived on their own. They didn't have parents with them. So I was like, if they're teenagers, where are their parents? Why don't they ever go home? That sort of thing. And also Princess Luna and Princess Celestia being like, what even were they? Principals? Joint principals? The logic of this film was very bizarre to me, even as a child, and it gets even worse when you get older. But regardless, it still has a special place in my heart, and I still have the DVD. It's in like one of my DVD cases somewhere. I did Twilight and Rarity together in this video simply because they both had a purple theme going. There was literally no reason behind it. I originally was gonna do it like in order of, I don't know, important characters, so I started with Twilight since she technically is the main character, but I don't really care. I'm just doing what feels right. But anyway, let's get into the actual designing factor of this, shall we? So, I never really cared for the fact that they were unnaturally colored in the Equestria girls. I didn't care that Twilight was purple. I really didn't. I felt like it made it more recognizable to me, and as a kid, I just didn't care. Like, I genuinely just looked at the character and I was like, yep, that's Twilight, moving on. I was not bothered by it. But apparently it's a big thing to some people. Some people really wanted, like, the whole legitimate, realistic skin tones. And I was like, oh, I didn't know there was a part of the fandom that did this. Turns out it's everyone except for me. So with Twilight, there was really no determining factor for why I made her slightly on the browner scale. I just felt like it fit her better, and it just, like, looked better. I feel like if she were paled out and more, I feel like if she was more fair skinned, it wouldn't really fit her look. And also just all these dark and purples, all the purples and blues and these darker shades, it wouldn't really look right with fairer skin tones unless that's like part of the character. It would really make her look even paler, and I just don't get the pale vibe from Twilight. I've always kind of envisioned her as more of like a, I don't know, tanner skin tone. Let's get into the clothes. I really didn't like her original outfit. Something about just like, I don't know what they were doing. I feel like the top that she wears fits more Pinkie Pie than it actually does Twilight. Something about it just doesn't give me library smart girl vibes. I don't know. I don't know. But I actually based this design off of my friend Zoe, actually, and I didn't tell her this, so when she sees this, it's gonna be a surprise, woohoo! But she always got mistaken for being a substitute teacher in high school because of the way she would dress. And she would wear this kind of stuff where she would just usually wear more turtleneck things, more neutral tones, and she would wear a lot of different skirts and finer pants, and just, she looked really well put together. Which was a sharp contrast to a lot of the people at school, including myself at times. So I wanted to give that vibe, someone who would get mistaken for a substitute teacher just because of the way she's dressed. But I gave her her youth by making her skirt a little shorter, and I gave her these Mary Janes. A lot of times you don't see teachers wearing like these like heeled shoes in a public school system. And I also gave her a book bag because I felt like that fit her better than a backpack. Twilight doesn't strike me as a backpack kind of person, and I'm pretty sure she canonically has a book bag in the original show. So I gave that to her. I was gonna make it blue because her backpack is blue in Equestria Girls, but when I did it, it looked really bad, so I made it purple. I liked it a lot more. It fit her vibe so much better. I also toned down her eye color. I felt like they were too purple, and I thought if I was going to make her skin a natural skin tone, I would make her eyes on the more natural scale as well. So even though it's still purple, it's more on the black-purple scale of things, so it falls into just that darker color in general. And one thing that I've made extremely, like, this is a rule we follow with this redesign series. I'm keeping the hair as unnatural colors like they are for the ponies, because I feel like when you take away that, it immediately makes the characters extremely unrecognizable, and you have to rely strictly on the clothing to give that vibe. But a lot of times I don't like the outfits that other redesigners give these characters. So we're keeping the hair, so then the recognizable aspects are still present, and I can do what I want with the clothes and fit the character how I want it to. But I gave her little sweater vest because, you know, just fits the vibe, and a regular long sleeve shirt to go underneath it. I feel like Twilight is more of a long sleeve kind of person. Seeing her in a short sleeve top was just out of character for me. Even as a kid, I thought it was like a little bizarre. But I did give her a little cutie mark earring, which you can barely see, and I didn't even fix the liner on it, but it's there. And I thought it'd be cute if her hair wasn't just down, but if she had a little bit of like an updo. So I gave her this half up, half down thing where she has this little ribbon in the back of her hair, and I thought it was really cute. And I gave her these little layers as well, and yeah, honestly, there's not much to say. I was inspired by these different like dark academia styles, and I just switched the colors to be more purples and blues. I did keep the blue aspect in her skirt. Originally, I was going to make it purple or some sort of like dark color, but then I did this blue, and I feel like that shade worked a lot better with the entire outfit and her vibe. It just keeps that youthful lightness about her, because she is still like a sweet person. Her whole thing is about like the magic of friendship, so you know, you gotta keep that present. But I think she turned out really cute, and yeah, and I added a little pony of her on the side. I've never drawn ponies before, so the anatomy is probably whack, but I don't care because it's my art and I'll do what I want with it. But I had a lot of fun with this one. I think it was super cute. Let's move on. So next we have Rarity. Now this one was difficult. First of all, I struggled forever for a pose and also for her face. I just really didn't know what to do. And the thing is, I always considered Rarity to be the oldest one in the group. I don't know why, but I always thought she was older just because of the way she acted. She was very regal and very just put together and on top of things. And her voice also gives the idea that she would be an older character. So I made her look older. I should specify now, since I didn't specify in the last drawing, I'm not making them high schoolers. I'm basing their designs strictly off of just the idea I get of the character. I don't know if they've ever had like a canonized age, but the Equestria girls did them so dirty with them being teenagers. I don't think they're teenagers, and Rarity as a teenager, I don't think she would act the same way that she does in Equestria Girls. She does some teenage things, but it feels weird because, again, I always thought that she was more adult than all the others, so I kept that aspect present with the way I dressed her. I have seen a lot of different designs for Rarity as a human, and I agreed with quite a few of them, but I changed up quite a bit at the same time. So I based her design off of Peggy, I think that's her name, from Captain America. I gave her this 50s hairstyle because she had that big swoop in the front, and I just thought that it really reminded me of like that like 50s style, and with the clothes that I was choosing, I thought it was perfect to add that all together, and it's just, yes. Something about the way Rarity acts is either extremely royalty or extreme just this 50s vibe. I'm not really sure how to describe what I'm thinking, but if you know, you know. But what I did for her design is I kept that pale skin, which I see a lot of Rarity fan arts do. I've only seen a few where she's darker skinned, which is still beautiful nonetheless, but I feel like it's just not exactly what she would look like in my mind. I worked with more royal colors, and by royal I quite literally mean that, with like royal blue, royal violet. I only added like some more magenta tones in this corset here, which originally wasn't supposed to be a different color, but when I looked at Rarity's original design, she had this belt, and I was like, okay, well, she's got a belt, I could switch that, keep it, and put it into this. So I turned it into a corset, which was originally supposed to be part of the top. It was supposed to be a corset top where like the whole thing is sewn together, but when I did the corset and I made it its own color, I was like, no, I'm gonna go with this because this looks a lot better than I expected. But I gave her this high-waisted pencil skirt. I felt like that was super cute, and I kept it at her knees, and it just I cannot describe, but it just fits so well in my mind. And her top. I gave her this buttoned wrap top with these billowy sleeves, and I feel like I could have done better on showing the texture of what her sleeves are, and also just with the folds. I feel like it looks more like, I don't know, it looks like a jellyfish or something. I don't really know what I'm seeing here, but I like it nonetheless. I think it turned out pretty good. And I gave her these very beautiful heels where I added this like satin fabric that I apparently never shaded. And so I put that on top of this, what I imagine would also be a satin heel. And I incorporated her cutie mark as much as I possibly could because I felt like she just needed to have that little spark of rarity in her, even though she already radiates rarity. But I wanted to add more of these bright aqua blues to kind of dull down the purple because I felt like there was a lot of purple going on. And her original design had these golden bracelets, so I kept that as well. It wasn't necessary, but I feel like it added to just rarity. She's the it girl. She's got all this money. Why wouldn't she have golden bracelets? So I made all of her jewelry just these crystals that are blue with the golden aspect to it, and it was just perfect. Rarity in the original, and her pony design has longer hair. But for some reason, I felt like she would have shoulder length hair. I don't know, I just felt right. Also, her design looked like it needed shorter length hair and not long hair. I thought about doing longer hair, but if I did that, I would have done like some sort of updo with it regardless. But when I did her pony design, I also changed her hair to be shorter, but I kept her original tail length, I guess. Like a lot of other people who are doing this, they are giving like little backstories behind why they did certain designs and giving little aspects to the character that's not present in the original, but I'm just redesigning the actual design. I'm not going into the whole background and backstory. That's not for me. I'm just redrawing the characters to fit what I think looks better. But yeah, so this is my Twilight and Rarity. What do you think? Do you think I could have changed some things? Do you think how it looks is great? Do you like the original Equestria girls? Do you like some other redesigns more? Give your thoughts in the comments. I would really love to see everyone and just what you have to say and what your thoughts are. And yeah, that's really all I have for today. Comment down who you want to see next if you don't have anything to say about the designs, because I need that algorithm, guys. Please help me out with that. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you can see more of my videos in the future. I am working on making a better schedule so I can post more frequently. Also check out my other social medias that'll be linked in the description, my about page, and the comments where I will have my link tree put in there. I can't get the hyperlink to work, so either just go to any sort of social media and just type in Dexterly, I'll pop up. Also be sure to check out my Etsy shop and maybe consider subscribing to my Patreon. That would really be appreciated. But my Etsy shop has some stickers on there right now. I plan to add some more, but as of right now, we just have some Five Nights at Freddy's stuff. So if you like that yourself or know anyone who would like it, give the shop a little check out and, you know, share with your friends. Speaking of sharing, share this video, my goodness. But thank you all so much for staying to the end of this video. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to talk to you all in the next one. So I will see you later.